Alright, so quick reviews are back. Wait, when was the last one again? Oh, wow. Okay, so this video's quick review is going to be a little different. Today I'll be reviewing both Abzu and Resident Evil 3. And I know what you're thinking. Those games are not similar at all. I mean, Abzu came out in 2016 for crying out loud. And you would be absolutely right. In all seriousness, I just wanted to talk about these games since I've beaten them pretty recently and I want to get out my opinions on them. So, starting off with Resident Evil 3. I was pretty excited for this one, loving 2019's Resident Evil 2 remake, and just being a pretty big fan of the RE franchise in general. I was hoping to get a fun action horror experience, and that's exactly what I got. While it lasted. Yeah, this game's pretty short. Roughly around 5, maybe 6 hours. I mean, some people online claim this game is like 3 hours long, which is just completely ridiculous. But this shouldn't be a problem, right? Resident Evil 2 was roughly around the same length, and everyone endlessly praised it. Well, here's the thing. Sure, Resident Evil 2 was roughly the same length, but it came with an alternate campaign, with a different character, extra modes, and plenty of unlockables, as well as eventual free DLC. Resident Evil 3 does technically come with some bonus items you can unlock via points, but that's about it. Maybe a Mercenaries mode would have helped, like the original. $80 is definitely a bit steep for this one. Alright, I complained long enough about the length and price of this game. So the real question is this game any good? And if I were to be honest, hell yeah, this game was fun as hell. Oh, I used the word hell twice, but the gameplay is relatively similar to the excellent Resident Evil 2 remake, but with some changes. Instead of using knives and grenades as a get-out-of-jail-free card when grabbed by a zombie, this feature has been replaced with a dodge move. Personally, I think this fits well in the context of the game. Jill Valentine, the protagonist of RE3, is far more experienced in combat than rookie cop Leon Kennedy or biker girl Claire Redfield. And with RE3 being a far more action-packed game than its predecessor, this gameplay change is completely justifiable. Now, like I mentioned a second ago, the gameplay still mostly mirrors Resi 2, exploring an environment, backtracking to unlock keys and optional weapons, as well as occasionally encountering more nasty creatures. However, there are two aspects that might turn potential players off, or more so longtime fans of the series. 1, there are barely any puzzles, and 2, you never really get a chance to thoroughly explore an environment because the next thing you know, you're already out of there. Personally, I don't have much of an issue with either. Sure, puzzles in past Resi games were interesting and all, but they didn't really make or break the experience compared to exploring and backtracking. Also, with Resi 3 being a more Michael Bay-esque game, this isn't much of a loss. This applies to the environments as well. Resident Evil 3 feels more urgent than 2, while 2 was more about exploring the abandoned police station while soaking in the atmosphere. 3 is just about getting the hell out of the city as soon as possible. Therefore, it makes sense to keep moving, rather than to hang around to see if the local cafe still sells donuts. However, going back to the length of the game, despite not playing the OG RE3, I kinda wish they included the cut environments from the original game. Areas like the clock tower and graveyard could have prolonged the game without sacrificing the pacing. All in all, Resident Evil 3 is a great game that could have been fantastic. While it goes by a little too quickly for my liking, the pacing, great visuals, and solid gameplay make for something definitely worth experiencing. Just try not to pay full price for this one. Wait until it goes on sale. Oh yeah, one more thing. I'm just putting this in here while editing. The facial animations and voice acting are pretty good. And as well as the dialogue and the writing, it's kind of rare for Resident Evil games to have good writing. And while Resident Evil 2 Remake had great facial animations as well as voice acting, some of the dialogue felt a bit off. But you don't really get that in Resident Evil 3 Remake, which is pretty cool. Joe and Carlos as protagonists are pretty likable, and overall, the story's a lot of fun. I might even prefer this over Resident Evil 2, but that's just me. I just wanted to mention that. Yeah, moving on. 7.5 out of 10. Being a fan of the 2012 game Journey, I was more than compelled to play Abzu, like 4 years after it released. Abzu follows a diver as she goes on a journey to restore the wildlife in the ocean. It's familiar territory if you played games like Flower, but Abzu is worth playing nonetheless. Controls were a bit hard to get used to, but I somehow managed, since the gameplay never really evolves past swimming to your next destination, which is alright. Not every game needs to have overly complex gameplay. The visuals are fantastic as expected, and the soundtrack composed by Austin Wintory is nothing short of magical. The story, while being cryptic at points, is still one worth going through, and come on, you get to ride a shark at one point, so I don't think I can complain. All in all, Abzu was pretty neat. The game, however, is only around 90 minutes to 2 hours long, so try to find this one at a reasonable price. If you enjoyed games like Journey, I'm sure this is up your alley. I personally really liked it, and would give this a super solid 9 out of 10. Alright, so that was my second quick review on this channel. Hope you enjoyed it. For my next review, I'll be reviewing the first-person shooter classic, Call of Duty.